Be Frankie.
Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix. Yeah, I'm striving for greatness, trying to make it out. We're stuck in the matrix.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy BDELL. If you're new to this channel, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. But today I'm going to be breaking down the metaphysics of the harvest supermoon lunar eclipse that's going to be taking place in Pisces on September 17th and the 18th. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically a representation and the symbology of a transitional shift that's going to be taking place on the planet that basically eradicates the patriarchal patrilineal system that was facilitated by the age of Pisces. So when you look at it from that standpoint, this prophetic divination is based on the fact that physical destruction is facilitated by spiritual energy that's transmuted for the cosmos. Because during this time period, all the conspiracy theories and the truth tellers, we're basically going to be the heroes in the end. Because this is where your tinfoil hat is transmuted into a crown of knowledge. So we finna get started into the presentation. So hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. You know, we got about 70% of the people who watches this channel, they don't subscribe to the channel. So hit that subscribe button as we segue into this presentation. So for those coming in, hit that share button so we can get the edification out, right? Because one thing you got to understand about this transitional shift on the planet, because as I was telling you before, when you look at the precessional circle of the equinox, everything is being facilitated, everything was being facilitated by the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces was the age of mankind. The age of mankind is the age of darkness. The age of darkness is acclimated to the illusion of the photon light spectrum. So with that being said, when you look at it from that standpoint, like I said, you got to understand the diametrical differences between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. Because as I was telling you before, a lunar eclipse is basically transformative, right? It represents a retribution process, karmic retribution, divine alignment, synchronicities, right? Because during this time period, this is where the veil is thin. And when the veil is thin, this is where you have many different fast-caster interstellar vortex portals opening up to basically eradicate the illusion that was basically under the age of the Piscean age of darkness. So this is why it's imperative to understand that when we go through this transitional shift, that the lunar eclipse is basically the symbology of the darker energy where the veil is thin. And when the veil is thin, you got to be very mindful of what you speak into the ethers. You got to be very mindful of what you think, because it will actually materialize in the physical realm, right? Because during this process, as we go through this great awakening period, this is where you have the physical realm and the quantum world basically merging in together, which makes it into a fifth dimensional civilization, right? So like I said, it's all about karmic retribution and things of that nature. So as I was telling you before, these fractal interstellar vortex portals, these cosmic energies that's coming in, the lunar eclipse, the harvesting energy of it is basically creating this portal, and this portal is bringing these triune solar systems that's coming from Ilihun, according to Dr. York's publication. So these three suns is also connected to the Hopi prophecy, right? When you understand that dynamic from an eschatological standpoint, right? Because that's basically the great purification period when you understand the science of the end times. So as I was telling you before, when you look at the precessional circle of the equinox, right? When you see the star, Alpha Draconis star system where my cursor is, that was under the age of Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. This is why it's imperative to understand the celestial alignments because these phenomena is basically acclimated to how the Roman occupational government control their system is based on these alignments. So that's when you understand that, you can understand what time we actually in right now. So the Alpha Draconis star system, where my cursor is, was under the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces was also under the age on the last moon cycle. So when you look at, the precessional circle of the equinox, it operates in a 24,000 year purification period. And that 24,000 years is acclimated to the fact that you have four different increments of golden cycles and a silver cycle. So you have one sun cycle, which was basically the inception of creation. And then you have the moon cycle that was created during the colonization, during the pillaging process, when you're talking about these factions who control the government. So this is where your monetary system comes from. This is where your monotheistic religion comes from, because the moon cycle that you're looking at right here, these moon cycles was under the age of Pisces, and it was being controlled by the Alpha Draconis star system, right? So that's why I said the age of Pisces was the age of mankind. Mankind is a kind of a man that was genetically spliced into existence that created an artificial system during the age of Pisces. So when you have a lunar eclipse on under the age of Pisces or under the Piscean energy, what happens is it reverses the polarity of the Piscean energy, because everything that was acclimated to the Piscean age of darkness was based on illusions. So that's why the illusion is crumbling. So this is basically the end game finality structure to reverse the polarity by way of the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is being controlled by the star Polaris, right? Because we under the sun cycle now. So we under the age of the true light. Because now when you go to Dr. York's publication, it talks about how we are the seed of the Elohim. That is why our story, true history, must be renewed. Every 24,000 years called an equinox, which is divided into four sets of 6,000 years each, two sun cycles, which is a gold cycle, and then you have two moon cycles, which is a silver cycle. The human devil, the Luciferians have been ruling these last 6,000 years, divided from 4004 BC, Genesis chapter 3, verse 15. The circumference of the planet Earth is 24,902.4 miles, and approximately 24,000 miles that makes up 1 mile for every year in an equinox. We are lost to the truth of self because we're basically bounded by the energetic frequency of the sleep spell of Leviathan, or the sleep spell of King Gu, which is basically a appellation title for the lunar cycle, which is the silver key that keeps you locked down in the photon-like spectrum, which is under the age of illusion, right? Which is the age of Pisces. So then it goes in, it talks about how Theos, which is El Elyon El, is basically going to reverse the polarity, because that's also connected to the galactical sun outside of the dome, right? So when this is the metaphysical aspects of it, the esoteric of it. Now, remember I was telling you, the great majority of the illusionary semantics and technology that was created by the Roman occupational government was under the age of Pisces. So Pisces is the age of mankind. So since mankind is out of power, this is why they're telling people America's Bible was tampered with. They putting this out in the public domain, right? And the reason that is because as you going through, and when you're going through a transitional process, you got to give people the truth because that's based on universal law, right? Because you be breaking universal law by going against the matrilineal systems that's basically reversing the polarity of the patrilineal system that was created by patriarchy. So it says right here, a spokesperson for the Vatican has officially announced that the second coming of Jesus is not going to happen, basically. That's what they're basically saying, right? So they basically saying that the religion that they created by way of colonization is basically a fallacy, because we all know that monotheistic religion was created in 325 AD at the Council of Nicaea, right? Which created the Roman occupational government that puts you under ecclesiastical law and things of that nature that took you out of your sovereign capacity. So now we're in the age of the true light. The true light basically eradicates the illusions of patriarchy that created the monetary system, that created the religion. So that's what this supermoon harvest lunar eclipse is all about. This is basically the last cycle, meaning that the Roman occupational government is on their last leg because it's a demonstrative government. It's based on semantics and technology and illusions. So when you look at it from this standpoint, Rome, Babylon, Egypt, aka America, the deception of the fishes of the sea, the age of Pisces. So the age of Pisces, like I said, it subjugated the indigenous people because Babylon or America is actually Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon is basically Rome, and America is actually the indigenous landmass of Egypt, right? So this is why, the fall of Rome, because the fall of Rome is actually the fall of America. So you got to read this publication by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He put out this publication talking about the crumbling of the infrastructure of the Roman occupational government, right? Because all these, a patriarchal system doesn't have a chance in a sun cycle, because a sun cycle is ruled by nature, and nature is ruled by a matriarch under a matrilineal system. You can't have a fascist government that's being controlled by corporations during the process of a sun cycle, because a sun cycle is not a government that's basically of a system of a corporation. Under a matriarch, a government is for the people, right? So now we finna get into some videos, right? Because like I said, the reason why you're starting to see the collapse in the religious systems and the collapse of the monetary system, because they basically about to usher in a one world totalitarian government, right? The reason they about to do that is because, like I said, the Piscean age of darkness has lost its power. They only had 6,000 year dominion over the planet, the Luciferian government. So I'm going to play this video for a second that basically proves that, because this is why the Pope, he's trying to implement the one world religion. I'm going to play the video.
Because every religion is a way to arrive at God. Sort of a comparison, an example would be there's sort of like different languages in order to arrive at God.
Ma Dio è Dio per tutti.
But God is God for all.
Pope Francis kicking off the most ambitious trip of his pontificate with Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim majority country, where his message centered on how different religions can coexist.
E rispettandone.
The Pope stopping by the largest mosque in Southeast Asia.
And if God is God for all, then we're all sons and daughters of God.
Ma il mio Dio è più importante del tuo.
But my God is more important than your God.
È vero quello?
Is that true?
C'è un solo Dio.
There's only one God, and each of us is a language, so to speak, in order to arrive at God.
Qualcuno
Muslim,
indie, qualcuno cristiano.
Indo,
Sono
Christian.
diversi cammini.
There are different paths.
Understood?
Visiting the Tunnel of Friendship, linking it to a nearby cathedral, and sharing this sweet moment with the country's Grand Imam. Two leaders practicing what they preach as they called for greater interfaith dialogue.
See, one thing you got to understand is that, the Pope is basically the viscera of all religions. He is the one who controls all those factions of monotheistic religion. So it doesn't matter if you be like, well, the Pope, well, I'm a Christian. It doesn't matter. He's the one who controls all the religions, right? He controls monotheism esoterically and exoterically, right? So it doesn't matter what religion that you follow because it's all based on Saturn worship. And we already broke down the metaphysics of what Saturn is. Saturn is actually Satan. Or when you're talking about the personification of Metatron's cube, Metatron's cube is based on the photon-like spectrum that sucks up microscopic waves of energy, which is a form of an energy extraction, harvesting. The Saturn moon matrix that was under the age of Pisces. This is where they created the religion. They created the monetary system of capitalism that was ruled by patriarchy. They created all this, the illusion of this system under the age of Pisces. So this is why, this is a prophetic divination that's taking place. Everything that you're seeing right now is basically a portal that's opening up, this lunar eclipse, because this lunar eclipse is basically going to eradicate the illusionary concepts of Pisces. Because like I said, their system was built under the age of Pisces during the lunar cycle. So it's one of those things where what goes around comes around by way of the laws of reciprocity. So the energy that you put out has to come right back in full circle.
In
various regions, we see the emergence of violent conflicts, he said, which are often the result of a lack of mutual respect.
A very important moral voice, Professor Chan, in today's volatile world. Dr. Hedges, perhaps we can bring you into the conversation as well. Pope Francis came with a message of hope, and interreligious harmony has been a key theme throughout his tour.
I think it's important to stress that this interreligious dialogue is not just a feature of the Pope's visit here in Southeast Asia. This has been a key part of his work as the Pope in his role as the leader of all the world's Catholics. Ever since he's become the Pope, he's wanted to strengthen interreligious relations. And I think we can see in his first stop in Jakarta, where he meets with very important imam there in the largest mosque in the region. And of course, on his last day here in Singapore, he's engaging with youths from many different communities, not just Catholics, at the Catholic Junior College. So if you like, interreligious dialogue starts and ends his entire tour.
So he is, in fact, a world leader and someone that one should listen to. I was quite struck, for instance, in his January address, I saw that he said he was concerned with escalating crisis in the world, and that he was concerned that World War III seemed to be fought piecemeal with so many conflicts growing. So that startled me a bit.
We want peace for the world, especially for the poor. In Timor, the Pope facing pressure to address the clergy sex abuse scandal that has rocked the Catholic Church and calling on leaders to prevent every kind of child abuse, but stopping short of specifically referring to clergy abuse or issuing any apology. Last stop, Singapore, where Catholics are in the minority. The Pope circling back to that message of religious harmony, saying Singapore sets an example for the rest of the world.
Everyone has the right to practice their religion. Everyone lives harmoniously here.
A 12-day, 4-country, 2-continent journey that came amid concern.
See, this is where you have the beginning points of when they turned the system into a ultranational Christianized nation that's based on anarcho-tyranny, right? To where you give people what they want in a state of conformity. So it's a form of technology and semantics. So let me see if I got another video. See, all this is connected. The one world religion, the one world. Because like I said, so when you have a reset, right, that is basically at the apex of a system that reached the secondum of a cycle to where everything has to reverse and go back into a natural order. When it goes back into a natural order, this is where you have the fall of Babylon, when you have the fall of America, when you have the fall of Rome, the Roman occupational government. Now, one thing you got to understand about what's very significant, shout out to Donut Factory, you know what I'm saying? He basically put up this collage. One thing you got to understand is that everything within the energy extraction matrix and the simulation, this vetted simulation of reality, everything is being orchestrated. Everything is already premeditated. So the movie Leave the World Behind, when the blackout and the energetic grid basically went out, it was on September 17th in the movie Leave the World Behind. So everything that you see within the system by way of predictive programming, everything is already premeditated, right? By way of the binary code system of the matrix that operates on zeros and ones. So that's how you know this system of the simulation is being controlled by a supercomputer that sits on the dark side of the moon, right? Because the moon is what controls the illusion, right? Because when you understand the supreme mathematical sequence of the binary code system, the one is a representation of photons. The zero is a representation of dark matter energy, because the photon-like spectrum subjugates the dark matter energy to where you have physical life, because physical life is acclimated to the illusion under the age of Pisces, right? So this is why everything is getting exposed so much, because the veil is very thin, especially during the time of a solar eclipse, because a lunar eclipse, because during the process of a lunar eclipse, that's when the veil is very super thin. It's super thin. So you got to be very mindful of what you say and what you think, because it will actually materialize in physical form. Now, like I said, pay attention to the signs. So now you got Bill Gates says that the world is facing two options. You got, maybe some type of calamity, war, and, another, what happened in 2020, right? This is not a coincidence. All these things is basically aligning up. So you got the Pope, who was supposed to be the vicar of all monotheistic religion, announcing one world religion. Then you got Bill Gates talking about this. Now watch this video I'm gonna show you, because now this is basically connected to the artificial money system that they created under the age of Pisces. This is going to be the inception point to the fall of the system, because when you have the fall of a system, you have to reset the economic and the financial infrastructure.
EU has just brought forward into law a digital ID. EU's much delayed new border control system means that non-EU nationals, including people from the UK, will have to register their fingerprints and a photo before being allowed into the bloc. If you're thinking about traveling to the UK, you're going to need one in less than 90 days. They've issued a date sometime in November. It's not a firm date just yet. So it's actually going to be 70 days from now. And this is here. This is basically right now. In America, they're bringing forward something called the Real ID, which is coming into law next year. You'll need this to travel anywhere throughout America.
Changes are coming to travel requirements if you want to fly within the United States. The new deadline for domestic flyers is now.
See, this is how they're going to usher in the crypto control system, right? Because the crypto control system is based on merging humans with cybernetics, which turns it into a totalitarian, transhumanistic society, is what you're looking at right now. We in that time right now. This is why I said that the Great Purification period is happening during the process of the abomination of desolation. So that's when you're going to have the precursor to the Great Purification. The Great Purification is the great dreadful day that basically eradicates the illusion that we're living in. It eradicates the sleep spell of King Gu. King Gu's the moon, the spell of materialism, not the spell of fast cars and money and stuff, the spell of materialism. The spell of materialism is basically the physical world. This meat suit, right, that's encapsulated that encapsulates the soul, basically, and the spirit. So the physical world, like I said, is merging in with the quantum world at the same time. So this is why everything is getting exposed.
May 7th, 2025.
Make sure your state-issued driver's license or ID card is Real ID compliant. And if you don't, you won't be able to board flights or access federal facilities. Now, they've talked for a very, very long time about, social credit and things like that. And, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, that would have seemed far-fetched, tinfoil hat type of conversation. But now, it's getting a lot more real. It's getting a lot more real. A Chinese-style social credit system is coming to America. This came out May of 2024. Came out just a few months ago. Then they kind of peppered this in a few years ago, saying America's own social credit system coming soon. Well, it's here now. It's here now. This will require most citizens of countries outside of the EU to create a digital record and register their biometric details, such as providing fingerprints and having their photo taken, which when they enter the Schengen area. This should only take a few minutes for each person to do. British travelers will need to do this on their first visit to the EU after EES is introduced. Their record will be checked on point of entry into the Schengen area, verifying either their fingerprints or photograph. So this is what's happening. It's happening really, really quickly. And in America, this is kind of where we're starting. Deadline, May 5th, 2025. So, that's right around the corner. Right around the corner, May 5th, 2025. And they say that you're going to need this to basically fly anywhere domestically. Anywhere. So, what's the difference between the Real ID and a standard driver's license? And they say the difference is between the Real ID and a standard driver's license is that Real ID is a more secure form of identification. Nothing's going to be more secure than a digital ID, right? It's being solely walked in. The form of this identification is accepted at airports following you to board domestic flights in the U.S., entering federal buildings and access certain military bases. A standard driver's license does not. So you start to look at where this is all going, and you'll realize how fast we're moving into the direction of digital IDs. Now, what I believe is going to happen next is I believe there's going to be a good percentage of people that are going to say, you know what, I don't want this. I don't want to have a digital ID. I'm not going to do it. These people won't be able to travel, right? Which is kind of in line with what they would like initially. I mean, they would prefer less travel, say it's better for the environment. And, you start to look at what Europe's doing. Europe's ditching planes for trains. And it's not just Europe, other lookers here. Spain planned to ban domestic flights where you can take train in under 2.5 hours. So if you can take a train, then they would prefer you to take the train rather than flying. And in here, it says the total impact of a single flight is so high that avoiding just one trip can be equivalent to going in a gasoline-free car for a year. Now, what I think is likely going to happen is I believe we're going to start to see a roll-up of airlines, meaning certain airlines are going to acquire other airlines. We're going to see this consolidation, and as that begins to happen, it's going to get more and more and more expensive to fly. I think the cost of flying is going to really go up in the coming years.
So like I said, we living in that time right now because that's, like I said, the biometric crypto control system is merging humans with cybernetics, right? So this is also connected to the Patriot Act that Obama extended from George Bush Jr., right? Because the Patriot Act is basically going to turn America into a totalitarian police state. In a police state, now you had Donald Trump, he signed the emergency declaration for FEMA to where FEMA basically has full control once martial law is activated, right? So it's another form of surveillance. And it shows you right here how Iran's next president sees an emerging new world order. So like I said, this new world order system, like I said, one world currency, one world religion, one world cybernetic dictatorship. It's not a coincidence that all this stuff is happening at the same time because, like I said, the Luciferian Roman occupational government is on their last leg, right? Because this lunar eclipse is exposing the fallacies that was under the age of Pisces, because now we're in the age of the true light, right? So I think I got another video that's connected to what I'm talking about. Let's see. I think I could play that video later too. So now shout out to Donut for these collages. So when you look at this from a metaphysical standpoint, everything that you see is a form of predictive programming. And the reason I say that is because this magazine came out a long time ago. It says Trouble, Donald Trump. And now, so it's not a coincidence that that attempt on his life took place in Florida at a golf club, right? So everything that you see, like I said, is predictive programming. And then you got the Illuminati card game, who looks like a direct emulation of Donald Trump, right? So like I said, the veil is very thin right now. So it's also not a coincidence that Donald Trump, he recently said that he's going to put out that list. And guess who was on that list? Your boy P. Diddy. P. Diddy was on the list, right? For so-called trafficking. So it's not a coincidence that he's basically in custody, because this lunar eclipse is basically going to expose the illusions and the fallacies and the semantics that was under the age of Pisces. So this lunar eclipse is basically exposing everything because the veil is thin. You're going to see a lot more celebrities and rappers. Some of them going to end up, dead. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happens to Lil Wayne, right? Due to the fact you got this whole Super Bowl thing going on right now. So the veil is very thin. You got a lot of spiritual energy on the planet right now, right? So you got, and you also can't negate the fact that, Diddy, he got arrested the same week of Tupac's death anniversary. Not a coincidence, right? So that's another form of karmic retribution, because like I said, the veil is thin. What goes around comes around, especially during this time of a supermoon lunar eclipse in Pisces. So now we finna get into so be prepared to see a lot more celebrities go down. You're gonna start seeing I wouldn't be surprised if you see another big artist like Lil Wayne, he gets sacrificed or something like that. We living in that time right now because they gotta hit you with distraction after distraction in order to create this dynamic of a new world order system. They're gonna hit you with so many distractions, and they will basically take out their own in order to cultivate that distraction. So like I said, we in the age of truth, because remember I was telling you when the veil is thin. So this is why the deep state shadow government, they're basically starting to show a lot of people on how they're basically starting to replace the portals back where they used to be at, right? Because when you read the publication of the book of Enoch, it basically denotes the fact that you have 12 portals on the planet. You got 3 on the north, 3 in the south, 3 in the east, and 3 on the west. So there's 12 portals on the planet. And those portals is basically supposed to raise up a certain frequency on the planet that basically eradicates the whole grid system once you have certain pyramids and everything turned on. But we're going to save that for another transmission. So like I said, under the age of Pisces, they hid all this information from you. They wasn't building no portals and stuff like that in the age of Pisces. They wasn't telling you about this stuff. So that's why when you watch this video, you're going to see a portal that they showing you in Detroit. Because remember, I was telling you about Detroit. Detroit is one of the 7 cities that's in alignment with the Big Dipper star constellation, right? Called Moena. And Moena is a nomenclature title for Moor, or indigenous person, right? So it's not a coincidence that Noble Drew Ali, he came from that geographical area in Detroit. I think he had the headquarters of the Moor Science Temple there as well. So I'm gonna play this video.
Now, y'all, I was at work today. One of my coworkers was like, You know, they built a portal downtown. And I'm like, oh, really? A portal? And they say it's for art, okay? But where they built it at is in a very isolated area. And it is not, you don't see no other art around it, right? It's just the only thing by itself. So check this out. Y'all see this? Now, I'm finna go up here and show y'all because it's like it's on some type of hill, like a mound. That's energy. But what y'all got to understand is I think it's more to this. And he said it was built out of electricity and earth. The energy has been really high here in the Midwest. And that's what it takes to open up a portal. And I believe it's much more to this.
Like I said, you can say that, they're not building these monolithic structures for no reason, right? They're not building them. They're not putting them in certain spots for no reason. This is not, some type of dedication thing to humanity. And they're not building these things for no reason. They're not placing them in certain areas for no reason. The city of Detroit is one of the 7 cities that's in alignment with the Big Dipper star constellation, right? Because one thing you got to understand when you're talking about putting an encryption over the planet, the reason that certain energy grids and certain monolithic structures is built on places like Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, New York, and DC, and Pittsburgh. The reason, stuff like that happens is because they're trying to subjugate a certain energy. Because the 7 cities that's connected to the Big Dipper star constellation, they're pulling in intrinsic cosmic energy. And that cosmic energy causes an interface transition within the simulation that creates the illusionary concepts of the photon light spectrum. So this is why, like I said, they got, by way of universal law, they got to start putting everything that they hear from us right back. So that's why it's not a coincidence that as we're going into the year of 2025, they're starting to put up all these, portals back where they used to be at, right?
Portal than they are telling us. Now I'm gonna show y'all it's on some type of hill, like I said, a mound. See, look at this. Energy, wow.
Like, what's the purpose of it? It's not, they didn't just put it there for fun. I mean, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have been indoctrinated by, many different forms of dark psychology. They created learned behavior patterns in your brain to the point where when you see truthful information, you have a resistance against it, right? They putting the truth in your face, but it's up to you to have the mental and the spiritual eye to decipher and delineate the technology. Everything, is not a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, during this time period, the conspiracy theorists are the heroes. We've been right the whole time. People in the conscious community, we've been right the whole time. And we're living in that time right now because this is the Great Tribulation period.
My thoughts, right? Y'all know that we used to have portals like this that existed everywhere. And they took a lot of these portals down and put them up, okay? Because they couldn't walk through these portals. And these portals work off your genetics. Just my thoughts. What if they claiming that this is some type of art, right? But what if it's bigger than that? What if they finna start putting these portals back out? And because the energy has increased on the planet and they know what's coming. And they thinking that if we open them up, they can get through. But it's based off genetics. They're not going to be able to make it through these portals. And so just my thoughts, like, what if they are putting these out here claiming that they are art, but they are not just art, they are real portals. Because why would you build something like this in an isolated area on a hill that looked like a mound? Make it make sense. And these mounds are energy. And these mounds are a connection between the physical realm and the spiritual world. So you gotta.
That's exactly what I was basically telling you about the lunar eclipse. The veil is thin right now. You having the merging of dimensions that basically eradicates the demiurge, right? Because the demiurge is what controls the three-dimensional frequency on the planet that was based on the age of Pisces, the age of illusion. The illusion is what created the fermented dome structure that created the illusionary concepts of the photon light spectrum that fools the two physical eyes to where you're not able to activate the spiritual eye, to where you have supreme discernment. So, like I said, it's not a coincidence.
Sitting right on top of some type of hill, and you telling me that this is just art? Something much more to this portal. And believe that they are putting these portals back out. They're going to try to say it's art, but in all actuality, these are real portals. And I don't care what nobody say. They putting these back out because they know what's finna get ready to happen, and they know that the energy has increased on the planet. And that's what's going to open these portals up. But what they don't know is a lot of them are not making it through these portals because it's based off your genetics. Because I have to come down here to see.
Remember, she said it's based off your genetics because when you watch the movie and the TV show Lovecraft Country, in order to get through the portal, you needed the black woman's genetics, right? Just like you're not able to operate certain ships if you don't have the genetical properties and the modalities in order to activate those ships and those portals. So that's why I said, black women, be very mindful of this eugenic system that's being facilitated by many different forms and factions of democracy, right? A lot of people are going to start coming up missing, especially black women, because like I said, they need your genetics in order to go through these portals, right? Because a lot of people don't have the electromagnetic radiation to go through the portal, to go through that plasma energy.
For myself, tell me what you guys think about this. What's your thoughts on this?
Like I said, it's not a coincidence. We living in a crazy time right now, right? So they got to give you the truth because it's the end of the Piscean energy. So this is basically the end game structure. This is the end game structure of the lunar cycle under the age of Pisces. This is why like this lunar eclipse is so significant. It's very significant because, like I said, it eradicates the whole illusionary perspective. So this is why when you watch videos like this, is they got to give you the truth because the illusion is over. The sleep spell is starting to basically be eradicated.
Have you guys seen this yet? If you're not familiar with this thing, this is the Eye, and it's located in Las Vegas. This was a $23 billion project, and it's a project that has something to say. Y'all check this out.
It tells you everything you know is wrong. The reason it was wrong because under the age of mankind, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus, controlled by the Alpha Draconis star system, which created patriarchy, it was all based on illusions. You follow me? The monotheistic religion, the capitalistic structure of a patrilineal system. Everything they created under the age of Pisces was all built on illusions. The illusion is being destroyed. So that's why, like I said, this portal of energy that's coming in by way of the lunar eclipse that eradicates the Piscean structure is creating a form of a matrilineal system under the age of the true light. So this is why they're starting to give you the truth so much in your face. But you are, you know what I'm saying? You sitting there, oh, that's cool. And you looking at everything in a form of entertainment. They got to tell you the truth. We in that time right now. This is in game.
It starts out by saying everything you know is a lie, right? As we know. And then it goes on a tangent, saying all these different types of weird things. Look at that. And it says some things that you can really pick up on it, right? Jobs are a lie, cars are a lie, futures, like everything is a lie because we know the past, present, and future exists now. But what I found interesting was that it was like the sun coming up and basically telling us everything that we know is a lie. And it's emanating black. Fish. It says everyone is a racist. Did you see that?
Look, now I'm gonna rewind it back. It says everyone is a racist except BOP. Hold on.
Everyone is a racist. Did you see that?
Except BOPs. So would that be black oppressed people? Everyone's a racist except black oppressed people? Is that what the title of BOP basically means? Let me rewind it back. Because like I said, in order to be racist, you got to understand power dynamics, right? Black people don't have enough power to be racist because you don't control nothing. Everything was stolen from you by way of colonization, imperialism, right? They created this imperialistic system that's based on a de facto corporation because their system is built on a form of witchcraft, right? Tricknology, semantics. So when you look at this, like I said, this is a codex. They telling you the truth right in your face, right? Everyone is
everyone is a racist. Did you see that?
DOP, except black oppressed people. You can't make this up.
What? FOMO vacuum. So literally, it's literally telling us everything that we've known. And it's what the eye, the all-seeing eye. Look at this. So literally, our lives have been nothing but a lie. That's why, like the movie The Matrix exists. This all has been a game, a simulation of some sort. So again, why would they put this type of message out there? You are a victim of your environment. It is. Yes. So what that mean? Literally, I'll go right back to everything being a lie. Size involved, gender, literally, here, everything you've known is literally the word. What do you guys think about this? What kind of message do you think they're? I think, yeah, baby. And then it says baby for that. Boom. Is that the solar flash? Have you guys seen this yet?
So under the threefold universal law, they got to give you the truth, right? But you got, low vibrational people who don't have the ability to think outside the box. They looking at, many different things as a form of entertainment and, oh, it's just cool. I like that. They're not paying attention. So I'm going to give a brief rundown, a real quick synopsis about what's going on about this harvest supermoon lunar eclipse that's taking place on September 17th and the 18th, right? And it's going to change everything because it's changing because the Piscean age of darkness was being ruled by the Alpha Draconis star system when you look at the precessional circle of the equinox, because the age of Pisces, Aries, and Taurus was ruled by the age of mankind. Mankind is a kind of a man that's not natural to the planet. So he created an artificial system, which was basically under monotheistic religion, a monetary system that was connected to a form of a patrilineal patriarchy, right? So now the illusion is basically being destroyed because a lunar eclipse represents a dark energy as you go through a transitional shift. It's a transformative process to where you basically reverse the polarity of the sleep spell of King Gu, which is under the lunar cycle. So you have the triune solar system that's coming from Elihun, right? The ninth planet of planet Risk. These energies from the three suns is actually acclimated to the Hopi prophecy when you're talking about the red and the blue star Kachina, which is your personification of the Great Purification period, right? That Great Purification period is the eradication of the Luciferian system that was being controlled for the last 6,000 years, which puts you under the sleep spell of Leviathan. So now, like I said, we're going through this energetic shift. This is why the religion, they telling you it's all fake. It was tampered with. This is why, you know, Babylon must fall. The Roman occupational government must fall because America, the deception of the fishes of the sea, Pisces, Piscean age, right? So the fall of Rome is actually the fall of America, right? So everything is based on predictive programming because they all showed you in the Leave the World Behind movie that the energetic grid system went out on September 17th in the movie, right? So it's not a coincidence that you have this collaboration of, you know, these concepts of a New World Order system, which is basically a totalitarian government that's being ruled by a cybernetic dictatorship. And it's ruled by a cybernetic dictatorship because once you have calamity, right, when you have chaos, square in a circle, when you have chaos, what happens? You get one world religion under a new world order, one world currency, right? And this is all connected to P. Diddy as well, because Donald Trump, he just recently said in an interview that he's going to put out that list, and guess who's on the list? Your favorite rapper, your favorite basketball players. So it's not a coincidence that people like Diddy, Jay-Z, all these people are about to get exposed. But during this process of the exposing, because the veil is so thin during the process of a lunar eclipse, don't be surprised if you have a big sacrifice that takes place. Somebody like Lil Wayne, he just comes up dead or something. Don't be surprised if that happens. So, with that being said, you know, we living in critical times right now. We in the end game because, as I was telling you before, the year of 2025 is the year of finality. So they got to set the tone and the frequency for 2025 in September, especially during the Jason months, basically. So this lunar eclipse is basically a symbology concept of the fact that we're going through a transitional shift because the shifting is going from the age of Pisces to Aquarius. We're in the Aquarian age now. So this basically denotes the fact that the Piscean age of darkness that was controlled by the Luciferian government is on its last leg. So also, when you look at this from a metaphysical standpoint and a spiritual concept, when you're talking about the lunar eclipse, this lunar eclipse is when the veil is very thin. You're going to have a lot of dark energy. So when you're asleep, you know, be very meticulous of your dreams. Do not eat anything when you're dreaming during a solar eclipse. Don't drink anything. Don't have sex with people in your dreams or whatever. Because like I said, this is a harvesting energy because this is a harvest supermoon lunar eclipse. And these entities that don't take corporeal form is going to try to harvest your energy in the quantum world. So be mindful. If you can control your dreams, deviate from that ideology, right? Because this system is on its last leg, so they got to harvest the energy of those who are at a low vibrational state, right? So with that being said, like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. You know, at least about, 50 to 70% of the people who watch the channel, they're not subscribed to the channel. So since you're here, just subscribe to the channel. So like I said, get this video out there, share this video because it's very important because it's going to play a part in the historical astrological timeline, which is basically the science of the end times. It's basically going to play a great part in this great awakening period as we go to 2025, which is the year of finality. right? So it's not coincidence. What's taking place in the 9-month is going to be acclimated to the 9-year, the cosmic serpent year. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video. End of transmission.
We will put an end to this madness.
It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. Karma's gonna get to you and then you'll have a chariot with only one less friend. Now I had distant folks that are looking to my eyes to understand the wisdom he's given and his wealth from the skies. So thanks for this meal that I'm about to receive, and thank you for my health and all the good memories. Thanks for the courage taking on another day when I used to not believe, but now I know about grace. Stay away from the fire cause the flames does burn. Go with your gut feeling, when it's wrong you learn. For every one step I take, the Lord takes two. And do unto others if you want it done unto you. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. This a completion, the selfish Proto-Grecian, Amerindian, Phoenician. I'm the last of the Mohicans, the bastard of the land, the pen, melanin, accretion. And we just trying to get back to the fact that we was kings and queens of a land before the avalanche seized it. I live on Turtle Island with the rest of the diseased. Better than the medicine for 7 different treatments. Niggas try to ride away but end up getting seasick. The sleep can feel my words like Braille and they're awakened with the penmanship of Hindu script written in them vacant monastery honor. Payments to the prototype. Tomorrow's only a day away, but nothing happens overnight. The fuck's wrong with going left when you know it's right? Biting off more than I can chew, that's an overbite. Black on black crime is like watching 2 soldiers fight when all along they was on the same page. History. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land. It's me again, God. I know it's been a long time since I last called you back on your line. So I hope and I pray for your hand to help me on the ladder to the land.